a guide to active learning at home and school, brought to you by the NGHS Psychology Department. Welcome back to the second part of this series on the master model and how it can be applied at school and at home to help optimise your daughter's learning. The A of the master model stands for absorption. Information we're trying to learn will only be able to get to the long-term memory to become a permanent memory if it is first engaged with at the stage of the short-term or working memory. It's called working memory because it's a very active mental space. It's what we experience as our conscious mind. When we're paying attention to something, it means we're filling up space in our working memories. It's where you hold information long enough to understand it, solve problems with it, and make inferences from it. According to the working memory model, sound information is processed separately to visual information. There's the inner voice, used for mental maths and deduction, and the inner eye, with which you can visualise what something will look like or mentally plan a route you will take to get from A to B. And this is all overseen by the attentional controller, which allocates the attention you're going to devote to a given task. There is only a limited capacity for how much we can hold in our working memories at any one time. This is true for all of us, no matter our age or IQ. Most evidence shows that the working memory can hold about 7 chunks of information at a time. The working memory acts as a bottleneck in this way. Even though the long-term memory has the potential to hold an unlimited amount of information permanently, if the working memory is overloaded, information won't make it to the long-term memory. However, by using clever techniques and tweaks to the learning environment, mental overload is less likely to occur. Cognitive load theory shows us how. The theory states that there are 3 types of cognitive or mental load. Intrinsic cognitive load is just how difficult a concept or task is. This will vary depending on your age and experience. Extraneous cognitive load is any aspect of the way a task is explained, presented, or designed which causes unnecessary and unhelpful load. And germane load. This is unnecessary but helpful load. It can make things seem harder at the time, but the effort it makes your brain go to makes it more likely that the information will reach and be retained in the long-term memory. This is summarised in the diagram, showing how the cognitive load of a task needs to be compared to the space available in your limited working memories. When total cognitive load is greater than the capacity of our working memories, that's when cognitive overload occurs, and that's when learning stops. So there are 3 implications which can be drawn from this theory. When you're trying to learn, you need to manage the intrinsic load of a task, whilst minimising the unhelpful extraneous load and maximising the helpful germane load. We at school have good control over the management of intrinsic load through careful differentiation based on our knowledge of your daughter's prior attainment and her potential, and I will come back to the concept of increasing germane load in subsequent videos. However, when it comes to minimising extraneous load, you as parents can help a lot. Anything that fills up working memory takes up valuable space and prevents thinking, so your daughter needs to make sure that she eliminates extraneous cognitive demands as far as possible. In the classroom, we create a calm learning environment, but girls often remark how inefficient they become when they're at home. You can help your daughter to become more productive by helping her to cultivate a designated workspace and identifying ring-fenced periods of home study time where concentration can remain high for set periods of time. In terms of location, where can she work so as to minimise interruptions from others? In terms of systems, does she prioritise the work she needs to do and progress logically through the tasks, rather than attempt to multitask, which overloads the capacity of working memory considerably? In terms of work conditions, listening to music with lyrics or trying to follow a TV programme in the background steals a massive amount of mental capacity, which will make it harder for learning to occur. Public enemy number 1 is the phone. Just having a phone in sight has been shown to steal a great chunk of the capacity of the working memory, making focusing on work much more difficult. Even without notifications coming in, the temptation can be too high not to indulge in a mindless scroll every so often. So why not encourage girls to be disciplined in switching off their phones during designated study time? The Forest Timer app comes highly recommended. It eliminates distractions and increases productivity by allowing users to plant a tree when they need to stay focused. If they commit to the task without getting distracted, the tree will grow, but if they can't, the tree will die. We don't want girls to be all work and no play. Rather, we are aiming for the time that they spend at their desks to be of a higher quality, with the added bonus that more quality time away from the desk can be enjoyed too.